How you doing, David? This is Najee from Cigar Talk. Congratulations on your victory tonight. You fought a bunch of elite opponents, throughout your career, between, Caleb Plant and Andre, and of course now Morrell. Can you talk about where he ranks just as far as difficulty, between your past opponents?
He hits harder than everybody I faced. He's obviously because 175, so he's a good fighter, but I think just my experience alone, I've seen so much different styles. I've seen Caleb Plant, Demetrius Andre, Bosick, Anthony Durrell.
The boxing world has reacted to the electrifying showdown between David Benavidez and David Morrell Jr. Here are the most shocking reactions. Before the fight, many boxing experts shared their predictions. Ricardo Celis, an anchor for ProBox TV, believed the fight would be an all-out war with both fighters coming forward. He gave Benavidez a slight edge due to his experience and effective use of the jab. However, he noted that Morrell would start,
feeling the pressure of Benavidez's power as the fight progressed, making things harder for him in the later rounds. Ricardo Celis said, "I think Benavidez versus Morrell will be a real war between two fighters who come forward."
Benavidez may have a slight edge because of his experience and the way he uses his jab. Morrell is going to feel things get harder once he starts feeling the Mexican monster power. Tris Dixon from Boxing Scene was hyped for Benavidez versus Morrell, calling it a fight that was almost too good to be true. He acknowledged the lingering questions about the matchup. Is it too soon for Morrell? Is it too dangerous for Benavidez? But ultimately, he believed the fight was happening at just the right time. Dixon was confident their styles would mesh perfectly, making for an all-action brawl between two fighters who bring skill, ambition, power, and the desire to face the best. Tris Dixon said, "What a terrific fight. You always know a matchup is good when you aren't sure if it's actually been made or if it's just fake news going around. Is it too early for Morrell? Is it too risky for Benavidez? Regardless, their styles are guaranteed to mesh well. We know what both fighters bring: skill, ambition, power, and the will to fight the best." One thing Dixon was particularly intrigued by was the bad blood between the two fighters. He hoped the tension built in the lead-up would translate into
27 years old, and we just gotta keep winning impressively, in order to keep fighting the best at 175 and 168.
What's the highest weight class you think David could go?
I think, to be honest with you, I think he could definitely go up to heavy.
I think the purer puncher probably is Morrell for one shot. He's the less experienced guy, but he's got that Cuban background, with the amateur pedigree, over 100-something fights. He's got experience. Even though he's got a lot less fights professional, he's got experience. He hasn't fought the resume professionally that Benavidez has, so that's in favor of Benavidez. The experience, always important. But also the pedigree, like I said, where he comes from, Cuba, how, you come from that island that from the beginning when you first put those gloves on, it's all about becoming a world champ. Part of it is to escape the communist country, to get to a better life, to get to where you can pursue dreams, to get over here where you can become a world champion. And that is all there. But Benavidez comes from those bloodlines too, where it's all about with him and his father, and his family. It's all about being a champion, staying a champion, being proud, representing yourself in and out of the ring as a champion. The power. Both guys are known for that.
An aggressive start, setting the stage for a fast-paced, breathless firefight. In his view, Benavidez would likely have to weather some rough patches, maybe even get knocked down. But in the end, his relentless volume and sheer willpower would carry him to victory. Dixon saw this as a battle of attrition, where Benavidez's ability to take punishment and keep throwing punches would be the deciding factor.
I've been getting ready extremely hard for this moment. I've trained extremely hard, and now we're ready. You know, now we're coming with all energy, not like this pussy right here. Peace and love. What was all that you were talking about back then? Look, now this guy's nervous. I'm gonna beat the out of you, and I hope you don't have no excuses, because you look scared as right now. To be honest, you can smile, you do all you want, but watch. When you step into that ring this Saturday, that's El Monstro's world, and you're gonna see exactly what the made of.
Spark of East News was just as excited, calling it one of the biggest fights of the year. His connection to Benavidez runs deep. He recalled watching him train with Manny Pacquiao when he was just 11 years old, seeing firsthand how the young fighter developed into the dominant force he is today. Spark saw this as a true clash of two tremendous fighters, but sided with Benavidez by late stoppage. Spark said, "I can't wait for February 1st. This is one of the biggest fights of the year. I used to watch Benavidez when he was just 11 years old training with Manny Pacquiao.
David Morrell is going to put up one hell of a fight. I just think David Benavidez is not what people think he is. I see a highly skilled fighter with good fluidity in his punches and his moves. The guy, to me, is one of the best fighters in the world. And I'm talking about skill-wise. Like, he got fast hands. He throws great flurries. He knows how to break you down systematically. His defense is far better than people give him credit. Him against Oleksandr Volcic, I was like, brother, this guy looks great, right? He just need more time at 175, which I think he got.
David Benavidez, American from Arizona, from Phoenix, Arizona. Debut 2013 through 2021. I think he is still fighting. His last fight most likely occurred in 2021. Oh wait, November 13, he's got an upcoming fight versus Jose Uzcatagu, Colombian. But his last one took TKO, took place March 13, 2021. 24, and we got another undefeated.
David Morrell and David Benavidez are going to fight.
Yeah.
Is that a fight that you're...
Oh, got it. Yeah. Well, the story with he and I was, I met him when he was a kid. And he told me, I'm going to be a world champion someday. And then I run into him and he's a world champion. You know, that's happened to me so many times, usually with MMA fighters, not boxers. But that's when I was sort of kicking the tires of boxing. Yes, I will watch that fight.
I've seen him grow from there, and now he's fighting the very tough David Morrell Jr., who's also a tremendous fighter. I'm picking Benavidez by late stoppage, but it's going to be a great fight. Must-see TV. Every second will be exciting. A recent interview before the fight, David Benavidez expressed his belief that he could entice Canelo Alvarez to step up to 175 lbs for a showdown. He planned to achieve this by first defeating David Morrell Jr.
I really don't like anybody who I fight, and it just takes a little bit of trash talk to really get me set off. But he's been talking a lot. He's been calling me out for 2 years, you know what I mean? So it's basically, I'm gonna shut this guy up.
Where your emotions might get the best of you?
No, I'm not. I'm a professional. I've been doing this, I've been professional 11 years. You know what I mean? I have way more experience. The fight that didn't let my emotions get to me was Caleb Plant, but you learn from the experience, and I intend to use my experience to the best of my advantage. This fight, we're gonna do different stuff. We're gonna be throwing combinations off the bat, and as soon as I let my combinations go, you see that the best David Benavidez gets seen. So I'm not looking for one shot. Like I said, I'm gonna punish this dude, and I'm gonna punish him on every angle. Body shots, head shots, uppercuts, whatever it is, I'm gonna punish him.
For this fight, Dave Morrell and David Benavidez. For me, though, I never had a huge demand for it because I think it's a bit early. for Morrell. And when you look at his last fight, Riyadh season, David Morrell didn't look that good. But a lot of people don't think David Benavidez looked that good against Volstik. I thought he looked great. I just thought he gassed out, but I thought he looked phenomenal. This fight, though, reminds me a bit of how they moved along Vargas. Remember when Vargas fought Trinidad? People wanted that fight until they saw it. He was a little too young, and he was showing a lot of promise, but I think they moved him along too quickly. Don't be surprised if David Benavidez give him a boxing lesson. David Benavidez, I think he's going to show some movement, shoot the jab, be busy. I think Morrell has a puncher's chance. And I think it's a phenomenal puncher's chance because he's so athletically gifted.
Benavidez and David Morrell, right? This is the type of fights boxing needs. Two young fighters, great fighters in their division. They moved up to 175. They were at 168. The fight wasn't made there, but 175, David said, you know what, let's make this fight happen. The first few pictures, it looks like David has some weight to take off. He looks like the Tyson Fury of the 175, but that doesn't matter, right? It's all about your fighting technique, your fighting style. I think David Morrell has a great opportunity to showcase his skills, but I don't think it'll be enough to beat a David Benavidez. I think David Benavidez has a little bit too much power and too much combinations for David Morrell. David Morrell hasn't, fought anybody that is maybe top 2, top 3. David Benavidez has been in there with Caleb Plant, has been in there with some good fighters. So he is coming into the fight the favorite, but let me know what you guys think of that fight. All right.
Benavidez stated, I still believe the Canelo fight will happen, despite people thinking I've given up on it. I knew one day they would ask for this fight, and today, it's amazing how much attention it's getting. People saw that they offered him $70 million to fight me. That was before I even fought Morrell. Imagine after pay-per-view revenue. Benavidez also revealed that Canelo's team once offered him $5 million for a fight, which he accepted. However, he never heard back from them. Canelo's team called my bluff. They thought I would refuse $5 million thinking the fight was worth more. But I said yes, and that's the last I ever heard about that fight.
And maybe when he's about 30 years old, 31 years old, that's the plan to go to heavyweight. But we're going to keep going to this division little by little.
Mr. Benavidez. I want to talk about his sparring partner. What we are talking about is that this Saturday, I'm going to put a beating on David Morrell. And that's what it is.
To you, David, when you imagine the fight, that beating, how does it look? How have you mentally pictured the fight?
I see myself systematically breaking him down. I think I'm just going to overwhelm him with punches. My punches and bunches, it's unlike anybody else in the sport. I'm the number 2 most accurate puncher in the sport. I don't really get hit that much. I don't know why people think I don't have defense and on that. So what I've noticed from my previous fights, when I fight great fighters, when I get in there and they don't have success like they had with other fighters, they get a certain look in their eye like, oh shit, like this guy is really good. And I'm expecting the same thing here. But if I do get put in a position where it's a good competitive fight, I'm ready to go to war. This is what I'm here for. Nothing is guaranteed. There's no easy fights here. Nothing is guaranteed. But I'm ready to put my heart and soul in the ring, and I'm ready to put it all in the ring and beat David Morrell, whatever it may take.
Morrell, it comes from the Cuban school. A lot of people say like, hey man, this guy is so technically good. This is a difficult style matchup. Like, what do you make of his Cuban style coming into this fight?
But honestly, they've said that against everybody I fight, that they're technically better than me, that they're more declarated amateur.
Benavidez believes Canelo is avoiding him, opting for easier fights while making massive paydays. This fight is inevitable. Everyone is asking for it. It's the biggest fight in boxing right now. If I'm telling Canelo I can knock him out, why doesn't he come and shut me up? If he fights me, he makes 3 times what he's making now, so make it make sense. Jose Benavidez Sr. on Morrell versus Caleb Plant. Meanwhile, Jose Benavidez Sr., David Benavidez's father and trainer, believes that Caleb Plant is a superior fighter to David Morrell Jr. He thinks Morrell...
I think it was a good fight, good turnout, but I don't want to see Mike Tyson fight no more. I think, hopefully he hangs it up. I think it was a good show, but he needs to...
If it was up to me, like we keep on saying, we want to see Benavidez. Canelo, hell of a fighter, but my personal opinion, he's ducking Benavidez.
What makes him so good in your opinion, Mike? Why does he beat everybody in your opinion?
his attitude. You know, he was the little heavy fat kid and stuff like that, and he wanted to prove himself to the world.
It come down to, because I don't think Morrell's going to be able to match Benavidez' volume. You know what I'm saying? With that, you know, he's punching constantly on top of you, and he don't get tired.
Morrell's team made a mistake by putting him in the ring with Benavidez so early in his career. Jose Benavidez Sr. said, "If I was managing Morrell, I wouldn't have put him against David so soon. I think they made a big mistake. He only has 11 fights. In his last fight, he had some trouble against a guy most people don't even know. We don't really know how good Morrell is yet. Caleb Plant, on the other hand, is a proven fighter." Jose Sr. mentioned that David Benavidez had the best training camp of his career, both mentally and physically, making him more dangerous than ever before. David has matured, his power has developed, and he's at another level now. Fans are not going to regret watching this fight. It's going to be explosive.